Welcome to Connoisseur Corner, everyone, part of the Feldy Network. I am Marty Feldman here tonight with you. And what we're going to do is a little cooking tonight. So we're going to head to the kitchen, and it is kind of winter time's getting in here, so it's time for that comfort food. We're going to do a crock pot recipe tonight. This is kind of a Mexican take on a beef stew. So what we have here is a green chili-braised beef dish. There's also potatoes and some sauteed onion in this, so I think you'll like this one. So off to the kitchen we go. And if you, again, before I forget, if you get a chance, click on that little subscribe button down there, and you'll keep getting all the content that we're posting up on the Feldy Network. So off we go to the kitchen. So what we're looking at here, ingredient-wise, is we're going to start with a little bit of oil. You can use vegetable oil. I prefer a little bacon fat, pork lard kind of thing in this one. You're going to use this to brown up the meat and caramelize the onions, and that's just the best way to go. So you got the oil. We're going to do about 2 pounds of I use a boneless beef chuck roast for this one. Cube that up to about 2 or 3 inch cubes. We're going to do some green chili, so I like to do 2 or 3 each of Poblano and then the Anaheim chilies. And then we're going to do a couple of onion. You can use either any type of onion in this. You can use, I typically use the white, but you could use a red onion in this if you wanted to. Also going to use a pound of the small boiling potatoes. Again, here you can use the red boiling potatoes or the white ones. Either way works just fine. Don't buy anything that's like green or whatever. Feldman humor. Then for a little kick, we're going to use 2 to 4 Serrano peppers or 1 to 2 jalapenos. Again, I'll leave that up to your preference and kind of your heat tolerance. Some people just like put in half a pepper and they're overwhelmed by that. So up to you and your heat tolerance. Along with those, we're going to do 1 can of the diced fire roasted tomatoes. And then we're going to have a couple tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce in this one. Worcestershire. A cup and a half of beef broth, so essentially 1 can. Again, get reasonably good quality stuff because you got to put good ingredients in to get good flavors out. So along with that, we're going to kind of kick up some herbal essence in this with a good bunch of thyme and a couple of bay leaves. Of course, some salt to taste in this as well. And so that's your ingredient list. So get your grocery shopping done, get back into the kitchen. Now the process on this one, I'll kind of walk you through this a little bit. First thing you're going to do is heat up that oil, that bacon fat, please. Put it on like a medium high in your pan. We're going to want to take that cubed chuck and brown that up on all sides in there. Once you're done with that, you can take all the beef out, just set it on a plate, set it off on the side. Then let's put those 2 onions, get those sliced up and put those in that same pan. Don't dump the oil out or any of the beef drippings. You want to saute those right in that pan. Do about a 10 or 15 minute on medium on those to get those kind of browned up and golden. Just kind of get that food to love going on those onions. And once you get those done, you can take those and layer those in the bottom of the crock pot container in the dish there. In the meantime, you want to take those peppers and we want to roast those. So you don't want to put those on a cookie sheet, get them in under the broiler and kind of blacken them, blister them up on each side, flip them over. And then once you're done, get both sides done on those peppers, take them out, put them into a bowl and cover the bowl. You can use saran wrap, you can use a towel, whatever floats your boat, and let them sit in there for a good 20 or so minutes. What that's going to do is steam those up, and at that point you can kind of rub that blackened skin off those. Then of course de-stem and de-seed those, and then with all that pepper flesh, then you want to take that and chop that up. My gosh, it's wonderful stuff. And then what we'll do now is you've got the onions in the crock pot. Take those potatoes. I typically, if they're smallish, I'll chop them in half, and then layer those over top of the onions. And then take that roasted pepper, layer that on top of those potatoes. You're building a nice little foundation here. And then on top of that, then you can take the beef that's been kind of setting aside, layer that on top of everything in there, the potatoes. Of course, you're going to have some drippings on that pan. Pour that in there. For crying out loud, don't dump that out. And then at this point, let's open up that can of tomatoes. Dump that right over top of the beef along with the juice in the can. No reason we don't want to drain that. We want to add that to the mix. At this point, a couple of those 2 tablespoons of Worcester sauce in there. And you want to take that thyme, kind of nestle that in there, and then those 2 bay leaves as well. Then the last step of the equation, open up your beef broth and just kind of do a nice pour over top of all the wonderful ingredients. That food of love is kind of coming together now. Put your lid on your crock pot, and at this point you're going to set your timer on there for high for 6 hours. So let that go. You're going to have an afternoon of wonderful smells in your house. It's going to kind of drive you nuts. Smelling that's going to make you hungry, let me tell you. At that point, we're going to dish this. If you've got kind of a deep plate you can use, or kind of a pasta type bowl, or any type of bowl you want to use. Dish out a good serving of this. What I like to do is I always like to kind of top this. A lot of the Mexican dishes you do, always you're going to want to put a sprinkle of cilantro on there, and then a little bit of a good queso. You can just use a queso fresco or a cotija cheese, something like that. Just kind of crumble some over the top of that. Man, you've got good food there, and at that point you're ready to go. Cheers. Kind of dig in. A good wine, if you want to pair this with a wine, off the top of my head, I'm thinking a real nice meaty Syrah is going to go really good with this dish. So that's my recommendation for a wine to pair up with this. With that, again, cheers everyone. Bon appetit, and thanks for joining. Again, hit that subscribe button, and keep coming back to all of our wonderful content that we're putting online. Thanks for joining, everybody. Cheers.